everyone, it's SaphirazlilJewels here, and this is another segment of what you can do with Daiso paper clay. And you can find it in the craft aisle in the store, or if you can't, you can also find it online. So a block of this costs $1.50. I am going to teach you how to create realistic looking pieces. So first, take a chunk out of your Daiso paper clay. This paint color is called yellow ochre. If you can't find this in Daiso, which I bought this from, then you can go to Michael's or any craft store, make an indentation in your Daiso paper clay, and squeeze out just a little bit of that paint, only until it reaches like the edges. Without putting any pressure on it, dab onto the paper clay so you can control the amount of how much paint you can use. Fold over clay, over the paint. So flatten out that disc, making sure no paint is leaking out so far. And fold it. Now if you're afraid that the paint is going to leak out onto your fingers like it has for me already, you can do this in a piece of plastic wrap. Now that you know it's all safe and absorbed into the clay, just mix it in. Now, if this biscuit or cookie color doesn't look good enough for you, you can add a little more paint. So the first part I'm going to teach you is how to turn this into a cookie. Take your paper clay, flatten it out a little bit. Take your rolling pin, slowly roll on top of it. Be careful of the thickness. You want about 1/4 of an inch thickness. So that's about how thick I want it. Take your cookie cutter. I got this from Ichiban-kan in Japantown. Put it right on top and press evenly, and then take off the excess. This is an air dry clay, so you have to store it properly if you don't want it to dry out. So I'm going to put this back into my storage container. Gently push on it on all the sides. You don't want to make any indentations. So this is what you should have. And there are some excess which you can slowly push back into the clay. Those are just the paper fibers. Take your toothbrush. This is the one I only use for crafting. So take your crafting toothbrush, take light pressure, and go all around your cookie. If you want, you can even texture the sides. At this point, you could put in any designs or any indentations you like. And I'm going to put in some dots along the side. I'm going to use my nail dotting tool, and I put my dot right in the middle, and then I keep repeating that. And in order to do the next step, I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. So I usually leave this for about 10 minutes. Depending on how thick this is, it takes 1 to 2 days to completely dry. As you're waiting for it to dry, take 2 pastel colors. This is a burnt sienna, and this is a yellow mustard. Take a scrap piece of paper. So I took the burnt sienna and I scratched a little bit, and I put it on, scratched a little bit on that paper. And I took the yellow mustard color and I scraped some on top of that. Then with my brush, I mixed them together. So this is what you should get. If you do not have chalk pastels, you can skip this step if you want to. So it's been about 10 minutes for me, and this has partially dried. So you don't want to use too much. So even after you gather a little bit, dust it off at one side, kind of see how that looks. Then you want to start at the corner and brush it very softly. If you brush it too hard, it will crack and fall off. If you were to brush too hard, you might put in too much pastel at once. So as you can see, I filled up all the sides with the chalk pastel, and it gave it kind of a baked look. And you can also fill up the sides as well. So now you're done. You can also use the same Daiso paper clay that you just colored and make things like bread. I'm going to show you guys how to make that. So take a piece of your paper clay, try to form it into that shape. So now that you have the shape that you wanted, this is the time when you would shade it with pastels to make it look like it's baked. So take your chalk pastels and shade it. Shade the entire thing. My entire loaf is completely covered with pastels. Take your crafting knife or your X-Acto blade And I'm going to mark where I'm going to put my slits. Right here, here, and here. Point your blade a little angled and then slice into it. Point it to where you marked it and slice it again. And then you remove that chunk. You'll keep repeating that. Take your texturing brush. Texture the inside of where you cut up. So this is what this looks like after you texture the inside of it. And you can use this technique to make miniatures if you want to. So here are a few things that I've made. I've turned the cookies I made into sandwich cookies. I have also used the same clay, pressed it into a tiny biscuit mold, and also shaded it with pastel. This is just another example. I think in the next video I'm going to show you guys how to make sandwich cookies or fillings for your fake sweets that you've made with diced paper clay, so stay tuned for that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was really fun to make and to do. And you can make miniatures and deco pieces with it, which is an amazing thing. And again, this is really inexpensive and really quick to make, so go try that out. Stay crafty, stay awesome, and thanks for watching, you guys. Bye!